Welcome to Review Set Scare with Jess and Blair. I'm Jess.
I'm Blair.
Blair, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Yourself?
I am doing very well, thank you very much. We are officially on to our second movie of the month of April,
Yes,
aka Ha Ha Horror Month. And we have a must watch to chat about today. But before we do that, what do you say we chat a little bit about some horror news? This is horror news. Blairski, you got some horror news?
Just one this week, and we got the first teaser trailer for Bambi the Reckoning. Jesse, your thoughts?
Yeah, it looks like I expected it to look.
Yeah.
We have a very muscular Bambi flipping a car, which is kind of neat. It looks fine. My expectations for the Pooniverse is I think right where it should be.
Yeah, quite low.
You had a pretty good observation. The teaser trailer makes it seem like it maybe takes place in the 100 Acre Woods as well, which would make sense in the wider scope of the universe that they're creating.
100%. At the very beginning, it shows two hunters kind of taking target practice in the forest. And if you really look at the trees and the landscape of that forest, it looks exactly like the 100 Acre Woods from Winnie the Pooh.
It would be a perfect crossover, and they are planning on obviously doing the crossover. So I think it would only make sense that, it takes place in the 100 Acre Woods as well.
100%. It does look fun. We'll have to wait and see. No actual release date yet for that, but we're expecting it this holiday, or not holiday. Well, I guess it's holiday for us. This Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween season, this fall Halloween 2024. Season. Yeah. That'll be one we will be seeing in the theaters, and we'll be releasing a bonus episode when that time comes. Yeah.
100%.
I've got some exciting news.
All right.
Tomorrow, which is Monday, April 8th, is a big day as A24 is set to release the much anticipated trailer for Maxine. The third film in the X trilogy is set to be released July 5th of this year, so right around the corner.
Yeah.
And according to Bloody Disgusting, Mia Goth told Variety magazine that Maxine is the best movie and script of the three by far.
Right on, man. Right on.
Which is pretty excellent. I mean, we both enjoyed the first two immensely. Those are two great films. So I can only imagine what the third one is going to be. I can't wait.
Me neither.
And then finally, first images of Christian Bale as Frankenstein's monster in the upcoming Maggie Gyllenhaal The Bride film have been released. Okay. And let me say, he looks pretty cool.
I haven't seen it yet.
Cool in the way as Frankenstein's monster now has slick back hair and tattoos.
Oh, God.
Blair, what do you think of Frankenstein's monster having tattoos?
Well, I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but I don't like that, to be honest with you. Just hearing it, I don't really like it. I feel like they should have just gone the old school look. Maybe updated a bit, but not with tattoos.
Immediately reminded me of Jared Leto in... was it the Batman movie he was in?
Yeah, Suicide Squad is the
Suicide
Joker.
Squad. Yeah, it kind of reminded me. It gave me same vibes as Jared Leto.
You could also
Suicide Squad.
You could probably say the same with the new Crow trailer as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Which we did see again the other night.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. I don't really know. I couldn't remember when I had seen that movie is scheduled to be released. The Bride, but I am looking forward to that one.
I am too.
It will be good. Absolutely. That's all I have for horror news. What do you say we jump into this week's episode? The second film in Ha Ha Horror Month goes to the 2014 New Zealand classic, What We Do in the Shadows. Runtime on this one, 1 hour, 24 minutes. Blairski, there are many perfect things about this movie. The runtime is one of them.
Just similar to the last movie we reviewed, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. If anything, I wish it was longer.
100%. And that actually is a great segue into fun facts.
Fun facts. Facts that are fun.
Now, I usually let you kick off fun facts, but because you mentioned that you wish it was longer, I want to start off with the first fun fact I have.
Okay.
Which is apparently there 125 hours of material was shot which then they somehow cut down to an hour and 24-minute runtime. Most of it, of course, improvised, which we'll
Yeah.
talk about later. But Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi have stated that they considered releasing all 124 hours of material online so that fans could edit the movie themselves.
That would be absolutely awesome.
Pretty awesome, hey?
Did they ever do that? Do you know?
No, they never did, but it's, something cool. But back to our regular scheduled format. Blairski, what do you have for fun facts?
Well, this movie, which I thought was the very first entry into the franchise that is What We Do in the Shadows, it's actually based on a 2005 short film called What We Do in the Shadows, Interviews with Some Vampires.
With some vampires.
With some vampires, which was also written and directed by Waititi and Clement.
Yeah.
And starred pretty much all that original cast, which makes me want to go watch it.
Almost like a concept short where they
Yeah.
had bigger visions for the movie, but they wanted to start kind of a bit smaller.
Yeah, which I thought was pretty cool because I did not know that.
Really cool.
Stu Rutherford, an IT technician and high school friend of Waititi in real life, was initially told he would have just a small little part in the film so that he would act more natural when filming. And he did not even realize how big his role actually was until seeing the film during the premiere, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, he was just brought on to work on the computers in the movie.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm sure we'll talk about Stu later on. What else you got for fun facts?
One final thing I have is according to Waititi and Clement, their favorite vampire films include The Lost Boys, Bram Stoker's Dracula, and Interview with the Vampire. All those movies are heavily quoted and referenced in this film, along with many other genre films such as Blade, Twilight, and my favorite, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, this is just like a total ode to vampire movies.
100%.
I've got a couple more fun facts here. Taika Waititi based his character on his mother.
Oh, really?
Which I thought was great. Yeah. A follow-up movie called We Are Wolves, WERE Wolves, is currently in development, written by Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi, which is fantastic.
Yeah, right on, man.
Yeah. And then finally, one of the most highly pirated films of 2014.
Was it?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, pretty cool. Okay, let's jump in and talk about the fine folks who worked on this great film. Directed by Jermaine Clement, the legend, also directed 5 episodes of the TV spinoff, What We Do in the Shadows,
Yeah.
and 8 episodes of the television show Wellington Paranormal, which apparently stars the 2 police officers that we
Okay.
see later on in the movie as those characters investigating paranormal activities in Wellington, New Zealand.
Right on. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Also directed by Taika Waititi, also directed 2016's Hunt for the Wilder People, 2017's Thor Ragnarok, 2019's Jojo Rabbit, 2022's Thor Love and Thunder, and 2023's Next Goal Wins. This one written by Jermaine Clement, wrote 22 episodes of the hit comedy television show Flight of the Conchords, which is the band he is one half of,
Okay.
25 episodes of Wellington Paranormal, and 50 episodes of the spin-off What We Do in the Shadows, also writing the upcoming We Are Wolves, and 5 episodes of the upcoming TV series Time Bandits, based on the 1981 Terry Gilliam film. Also written by Taika Waititi, also wrote 2022's Thor Love and Thunder, 28 episodes of the excellent show Reservation Dogs, which he created, and the upcoming Flash Gordon project. This one starring is a huge cast, and I'm going to try and talk about the main characters in this one. Starting off, Jermaine Clement is Vlad the Poker.
Yeah.
Also started 22 episodes of Flight of the Conchords as Jermaine, 2016's Moana, 2007's Eagle vs. Shark, 2012's Men in Black 3, Avatar The Way of Water, and will also be in Avatar 3, 4, and 5.
Okay.
Taika Waititi as Viago also starred in 2011's Green Lantern, 2019's Jojo Rabbit, 2021's The Suicide Squad, 2022's Lightyear, 6 episodes of The Mandalorian, and 16 episodes of Our Flag Means Death. Johnny Bruges as Deacon also starred in 40 episodes of 800 Words, 20 episodes of Educators, and will be starring in 6 episodes of The Office, Australia.
Right on.
Yeah. Corey Gonzalez Macower as Nick also starred in 11 episodes of Mean Mums, 13 episodes of A Night at the Classic, and was head writer for 107 episodes of the TV series 7 Days. And then finally, of course, starring Stu Rutherford as Stu.
Yeah.
His resume as far as film goes is minuscule because that's not what he does, but he was technical director for visual effects for Thor Ragnarok, which is pretty cool.
Right on. Good for him.
Synopsis of 2014's What We Do in the Shadows, courtesy of our dear friends at IMDb. Viago, Deacon, and Vladislav are vampires who are struggling with the mundane aspects of modern life, like paying rent, keeping up with the chore wheel, trying to get into nightclubs, and overcoming flatmate conflicts. Fantastic.
Yeah, I love that.
Great synopsis. Obviously, this one is a mockumentary, and they hit every aspect of that synopsis.
Yeah, 100%.
This leads us to one of our favorite segments of the show, Kill Count.
Kill Count. The time of the show we count the kills.
Blairski, do we have a kill count for What We Do in the Shadows?
All right, so I got a kill count of 9, which is what I'm going with. I kind of lost track a little bit watching it, but when I went to Google for confirmation, most articles are just on the actual TV series. I couldn't find anything on the movie.
Yeah.
So we're going with a kill count of 9 and about 70% confidence in that.
Not bad. I would say, yeah, that sounds about right. It's so hard to tell in a vampire movie too, because do they die or do they, or are they brought back to life or they just turned into vampires? It's a gray area.
Yeah, it is. We ran into that issue with The Lost Boys as well when we did that film. And Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, vampire movies, zombie movies, gray area.
Yeah.
Okay, this leads to one of our favorite segments of the show, likes and dislikes. Likes. Dislikes. Likes. Dislikes. And everything in between. The portion of the show where we chat about what we liked, what we didn't like, and everything in between. Blairski, kick this one off. What did you really like about What We Do in the Shadows?
First and foremost, this movie is hilarious. The actual humor and jokes were really funny. The way they all talked, like their accents was really funny. I love the whole flat situation and trying to not only live with roommates, but vampire roommates. I loved all that, man.
Yeah, just the idea. I mean, we've, of course, seen vampire book, movie after movie after movie after movie. And this is unique. This is fresh and is such a fresh take. And like you were saying, it is hilarious. So you can tell it is most definitely improvised. I know that there was a script done for the movie that wasn't necessarily shared with the actors in the movie. It was, this is where the scene starts. This is where we need to get there. How we get there is up to you guys, which I really, really like. If the characters, if the performers are good, and the actors in this one are absolutely brilliant at improvising. So good, so effortless, brilliant.
That was my next thing written down as love the acting from everyone. The improvisation was great. I love the set design of the flat. Where they lived. I really absolutely loved the costume design of their clothing. It's like they just couldn't get out of whatever era it was they died in. And I love that the little kind of wrench they threw in where they have no reflection, so they can't see what they look like in the mirror.
They're telling each other, it's good, it's good.
Drawing pictures with like crayons of each other to kind of show each other what they look like.
It's great though, because all of them are, I think the youngest one is like 153 years old or something. So they're all asking, do I look okay? And they're all like, yeah, you look fine. they do not look fine.
No.
I mean, they're all dressed in ancient clothing with like little hints of clothing that they've taken from their victims.
Yeah.
Hilarious bit where it's, yeah,
So
they don't have a
funny.
reflection, so they have to help each other out with their clothing.
I thought it was hilarious, man.
So great. There's just so many great scenes from this movie. I just want to list a couple that
Yeah.
really hammered home with me. First of all, anytime the werewolves and the vampires faced off, it was great. The scene between Nick and Stu, where Stu is trying to build up where Nick is trying to build up the courage to tell Stu that he's a vampire.
Yeah.
Um, and then Peter listening intently to Nick telling him not to turn Stu into a vampire because Stu is a vegetarian
Yeah.
and it would make him uncomfortable to drink human blood. And then, of course, the scene with the hypnotized police officers is just so good. There's too many great scenes in this movie.
It's so good. That's also the next thing I've written down is the Woolwives. I love the werewolves.
yeah.
I love the ongoing feud they have with the werewolves. It's not like
Yeah.
other movies where they're out to get each other, out to kill each other. This one's more like a high school rivalry where they're just
It's like
poking fun at one another.
they're
It's
like
so
the sharks and the jets from West Side Story.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's awful lot of shit talking, but it doesn't come down to violence
No, just a lot
until
of
the
shit
end.
talking.
Yeah, until the end.
The practical effects used were good too.
Yeah,
The moments
absolutely.
they had it, quite bloody, quite good. I really liked it.
Yeah, there's a lot of fight scenes and practical effects. I mean, clearly a lot of wire work was used in this
Yeah.
movie where they're flying around. There's a couple scenes where bat fight and things like that where there's a fight in the kitchen where they're hanging onto the ceiling. So clearly a lot of wire work that looks great.
That bat fight was hilarious. They're all just kind of watching, almost like they're wanting to reach their popcorn. They're like, bat fight.
So great. I love it so much. I just love the characters. I mean, they're so well developed. And it's just seeing their struggles on having to adjust to the real world, but also seeing the character of Nick, who's a brand new vampire, who's quite well accustomed to the real world, trying to adjust to the world of a vampire.
Yeah. And
He's
then
not allowed chips anymore, and chips are his favorite.
chips are his favorite. And then there's Stu, who just seems oblivious to it all. But they all just absolutely love Stu. Everyone wants to be Stu's friend. And he's always around, but it also looks like he doesn't really know what's going on.
Stu is just the unsung hero of this movie. He is so nonchalant about the vampires. He knows they're vampires,
Yeah.
but it doesn't bother him much. And the vampires just love him.
Yeah.
There's the scene where Nick gets banished from the house and they all seem really sad to see Stu go.
Yeah. They didn't even care about Nick being gone. It's that Stu's gone.
Oh yeah. It's a good movie when we've chatted long and hard about likes and dislikes, and we still haven't gotten to the intro.
Yeah, yes. Great intro.
We for two guys who love the intros of a movie, let's quickly chat about that. What did you think about this intro?
I loved it. I was so invested. It was similar. We saw Late Night with the Devil the other day, which we will be doing a bonus episode on.
Yeah.
But it was similar to that. I was so invested in that intro. I didn't even realize it was the intro until they showed the title.
And it's a longer intro, and obviously you have your intro and then you have your opening credits. The opening credits with the pictures of the flatmates throughout history was so good. But then also seeing the pictures of them at the Unholy Masquerade throughout the years is really, really funny. The intro is fantastic. It's beyond hilarious. I did, just because I love opening title cards, I'd love to read the title cards if that's all right.
Love it, man. Yeah, go ahead.
So it reads, every few years, a society in New Zealand gathers for a special event, the Unholy Masquerade. In the months leading up to the ball, a documentary crew was granted full access to a small group of this society. Each crew member wore a crucifix and was granted protection by the subjects of the film.
I love how they added that in
So
there.
good. And it was right at the end. They just added it in. Yeah.
I love it.
It was so good. I also loved how, moving away from the intro, that the documentary also includes reenactments.
Yeah.
So there's a scene towards the end where there's a reenactment of Stu and the werewolves
Yeah.
of what happened after the incident. So great.
good.
Oh, it is so funny. This movie knows exactly what it is from the get-go.
And I love how at the very end of the movie, Stu is the one that brings the werewolves and vampires together.
He joins them together.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that, I mean, we're seeing werewolves. I'm hoping that in that movie we're going to get a lot of these characters from What We Do in the Shadows making appearances
Oh,
in the movie.
100%.
I know that the characters show up in the television shows,
Yeah.
not very frequently, but they do show up. So I'm hoping that Stu will make an appearance as well as the vampires in We Are Wolves. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
me too, man.
Anything else you really liked about this, or heaven forbid didn't like about this one?
I've covered all my likes. I actually only have one not like written down, which I've already mentioned at the beginning of this episode. I wish it was longer. I felt the
Yep.
ending was a little rushed and sudden for me.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to keep going. I was not ready for this movie to end. That is my only kind of negative, and it's not even that bad. My only negative punch at this film.
There's definitely portions of the film that I enjoyed a lot more. As a
Yeah.
whole, I love this movie, but the beginning, basically the introduction of the flatmates and the transformation of Nick into a vampire, which is, I would say, 3/4 of the movie, is
Mhm.
obviously the part of the movie that I enjoy most. And then you have the unholy masquerade at the end, which is equally as hilarious.
Yeah.
But it just goes into utmost chaos.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great.
It's so good.
I disliked. I can't think of anything I disliked about this movie.
Yeah, it's so good, man. It is so good.
I think I agree with you. It could be longer.
Yeah.
You know,
if
heaven
anything, it could be
forbid.
longer. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's move right along, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's move on to one of our favorite segments, which is lessons we learned from watching 2014's What We Do in the Shadows.
Lessons we learned from watching. Insert title of movie here.
The portion of the show where we discuss the valuable life lessons we learned from watching said movie. Blairski, did you learn anything from watching What We Do in the Shadows?
Just two things here. First one, don't fall asleep in a pile of leaves, as it could lead to your death.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the last thing I have, lesson I learned, just because you rep Twilight doesn't mean you are Twilight.
Oh, that scene is so good with Nick.
It's
Have you seen
so
Twilight?
funny.
I'm the guy from Twilight. I'm Twilight.
Yeah,
It's
no,
so
you are
good.
not Twilight. You are not Twilight, Nick.
Oh, goodness. I have quite a few lessons I learned here. Vampires are human too,
Yep.
even if they aren't human. They still have everyday struggles like getting roommates to do the dishes. Vampires cannot wear silver, which I think is a lesson we also learned in the Universal Dracula.
Mhm.
There are between 60 and 70 vampires on the Greater Wellington region. The transformation into a vampire is quite similar to having the flu, minus the fact that your eyes bleed heaps. Werewolves have sensitive hearing and they smell each other's crotches. It's a form of greeting. Vampires don't wear shirts, they wear blouses. It is forbidden for vampires to kill vampires. And finally, a software analyst takes business requirements from organizations and they analyze those requirements and build software to fit those requirements, just in case
Attaboy.
anyone was wondering
That a boy, Stu.
what a software analyst does. Yeah. That's all I learned. This leads us to Line of the Night.
Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night.
The segment of the show where we discuss our favorite lines from the movie. They might give us chills. They might give us the giggles. All we know is that they are our favorites. Blairski, I've almost got a good half page of lines for this one. Kick this one off. What do you got for Line of the Night?
I was gonna say, what are we gonna do? Just quote the whole movie? Or?
Well, the whole movie, might as well.
I only wrote down 3, but yeah, you could easily quote this whole movie. First one is with Deacon and Vlad. Deacon goes, I think we drink virgin blood because it sounds cool. And then Vlad goes, I think of it like this. If you're going to eat a sandwich, you would just enjoy it more if you knew no one had fucked it yet.
Absolutely. Yeah. What a great line.
I had to write that down as it had to do with sandwiches.
Yeah, absolutely.
Viago goes, I really hope those guys don't kill those police because it will then mean more police will come, possibly even Christians, which is totally the last thing we need in this house.
Yeah.
Which I thought was great. And then finally, Deacon and Viago are having a conversation. Deacon goes, you can't go to the ball as Blade. He's a vampire hunter. Viago goes, yeah, but vampires love Wesley Snipes. And Deacon replies, no, it's inappropriate.
It's inappropriate.
That was great.
I'm going to kick mine off with speaking of inappropriate costumes at the Unholy Masquerade. Viago says, one year I went to the Unholy Masquerade dressed as Whoopi Goldberg from Sister Act 1 and Sister Act 2 back in the habit. Didn't go down so well because she was a nun.
Yeah.
Vampires don't like nuns.
No.
I've got one here from Deacon. He says, vampires don't do dishes. I've got one here from Vlad after being patted on the back for taking out the recycling. Says, and the other day I dragged a man's body down the hallway and noticed there was no dust. Like, I kind of swept the hallway.
Yeah.
I've got one here. Vlad says, my thing is I would poke someone with implements. I was known as Vladislav the Poker.
Yeah.
Vlad says, we're vampires. We don't put down towels. After Viago was telling them if they're going to drink their victim's blood on the sofa, put down newspaper or towels.
Yeah.
Vladislav, who appears to be in his late 30s or 40s, says, I became a vampire when I was 16. That is why I will always look 16. In those days, of course, life was tough for a 16-year-old. I swear I only have a few more, but these are too good to choose from. Yeah. Viago says, yeah, some of our clothes are from victims. You might bite someone and then you think, oh, those are some nice pants. Yeah. Vlad, of course, says bat fight, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
Nick, after he finds out he can't eat chips or French fries, as we call them, says, that's it. I'm over being a vampire. It's shit. So don't believe the hype. And then finally, Vlad says, our friend has just been killed in a fatal sunlight accident. Yeah. We could honestly keep going.
As I said, we could quote the whole movie, man. It's so good.
Every single line in this movie is beyond brilliant. This movie's great. This leads us to our final segment of the show. Some might say it is our favorite segment.
Some might, yes.
I might say that it's in my top 5 for sure.
Probably up in the top 5, I think, for me too, yeah.
This segment, Celebrity Lookalike Time.
Celebrity Lookalike Time.
The time of the show where we take a look at the cast and discuss their celebrity doppelgangers. Spoiler alert, it usually comes down to the character's hairstyle. Blairski.
Yeah, buddy.
What do you got for Celebrity Lookalike?
I got 2, and I actually think these ones are pretty damn good, man.
Okay.
The character Peter reminded me of the character Kurt Barlow, who is in fact the vampire in Salem's Lot.
Oh, okay. Yep. He's got that kind of traditional Nosferatu look to him.
Almost the exact same design as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
Finally, the character Nick reminded me of famed actor Colin Farrell. I found they almost looked identical as well.
Yeah, that was my first one. The character Nick reminded me of Irish actor Colin Farrell. 100%, absolutely, 100%. And then finally, the character Vlad reminded me of rock and roll composer Frank Zappa.
Okay, yeah.
It was the hair and it was the mustache. Yeah.
Yeah.
This leads us to our final rating for 2014's What We Do in the Shadows. Blairski, out of 5 horrible deaths caused by falling asleep in an autumn pile of leaves and having some of those leaves block your windpipe, what do you give What We Do in the Shadows?
I'm going to be giving it 4.5 horrible deaths by falling asleep in an autumn pile of leaves and having some of those leaves block your windpipes out of 5.
Excellent. I couldn't agree with you more. 4.5 horrible deaths caused by falling asleep in an autumn pile of leaves and having some of those leaves block your windpipe out of 5.
Yeah.
This movie could be longer. That was its only flaw.
It's so good, man. It's so good.
So good.
Have you watched the show?
I've seen a couple shows. My wife is a huge fan of the television show,
Yeah.
and she's a huge fan of Our Flags Mean Death as well, which is created by the same group. She can't get enough of these folks, and
So funny, man.
I totally understand why. They're
Yeah.
brilliant. They're
Yeah,
brilliant.
it's so good.
Yeah. This just makes me so much more excited to see We Are Wolves, or We Are
Yeah.
Werewolves, or
Yeah.
We Are Wolves. We Are Wolves.
We are wolves. Yeah.
Yeah, We Are Wolves. We Are Wolves. This movie is great. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. If you've seen it, go and watch it again immediately. It's great. This
So
month,
good.
we've kicked off with some bangers, and I just can't wait to do the rest of the reviews for this month.
Me neither, man. We got 3 more to go, plus another bonus episode coming up right away.
3 more to go. We have a bonus episode, and we have a watch party to look forward to. Lots to do in the month of April. But until we meet again, this has been Reviews That Scare with Jess and Blair. I'm Jess.
I'm Blair. Remember to stay scary.
And eat every sandwich. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to Reviews That Scare. Make sure you check out our Linktree at linktree/reviewsthatscare. That's linktr.ee/reviewsthatscare, which has links to our Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, Twitch, and many other things. If you'd like to email us, you can reach us at reviewsthatscare@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and remember to stay scary and eat every sandwich. A proud member of Pod Nation TV.